What it do? What it do? It's your man B-So-513 and I'm back again. What it do, Seattle fans? Listen, if this your first time coming through and you like the voice, you like the vibe, you like the content, go ahead and hit the like button or hit at the end of the video. Comment below your thoughts. Tell me what you think. Let's get into it. So listen, Devon Witherspoon, obviously this guy's a physical beast. When I say physical, we're not talking about that necessarily the speed. We're talking about the physicality that he brings to that cornerback position. I just think that's what Seattle is lacking. They need some toughness because we know that Adams has been missing in action. I think this guy is going to bring Adams type energy to the cornerback position, along with Tariq Woolen on the other side. It's looking like the new Legion of Boom. And then you already know, man, Jaxson, Smith-Njigba. I mean, bruh, like, It as a fan of the NFL, I just feel, and I'm a fan of Geno Smith, man. Shout out to Geno Smith, y'all, right? But I just feel with this offense, y'all, with this freaking offense, with DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, you put Jaxson, Smith-Njigba, just thinking about that 49ers playoff game, bro. I can only imagine if they would have had a Jaxson, Smith-Njigba, just somebody else to get open and make a play. Like that right there, man, people just don't realize how dynamic this move is. I mean, yeah, it's fun for stats and those guys that like to play Madden or whatever. It's girls that play Madden too. So for the generation of people that like to play Madden, that's going to be fun as well. But just thinking back to that playoff game, man, at one point the Seahawks could have had a chance to win that game. And just this right here is no telling the butterfly effect of what it does for this offense, man. And then you guys go ahead and get round two. You get Derick Hall. This guy's a freak athlete at 6'3", 254 pounds. I mean, you want to talk about stupid long arms, 34 and a half arms, hand size of 10 inches, run a 4.55 with a 10.7 broad jump. I mean, bro, you talking about an explosive, large, long, giant human, right? He uses his hands. I said he uses his hands and his arm lift to perfection. You know what I mean? I love his patience when he's playing to contain. He just has great hand usage. I just feel like he's a great outside linebacker prospect for that 3-4 defense. Especially considering the fact that you guys had Darrell Taylor and you also put up 19 sacks. I mean, this is a great depth piece and a potential eventual replacement for one of those guys if you're not able to resign. But I think for this year, if he's coming off the bench to help those guys and get them a fresh breather, I just think it's going to cause hell for the NFC West, man. I think, man, I'm really a fan of this guy's game, especially in the 3-4 defense, man. Bruh, y'all got one, Seattle. At this point, if y'all didn't draft anybody else, it's A+. And then in round 3, y'all went ahead and got Zach Charbonnet. I feel like he's a perfect complement to Kenneth Walker III. I just wanted to say their names like that. Honestly, it's funny because as a Bengals fan, I've noticed in our Bengals community that a lot of people were fans of Zach Charbonnet. And as a Bengals fan, I wasn't a fan of his game because, to me, I don't want another big running back to complement Joe Mixon. But when you got a guy like Kenneth Walker, a sports car, you know what I mean? You got a high engine, 1,400 horsepower with elite change of direction, and Kenneth Walker III. Give me a F-150 pickup. Give me something that can carry some luggage. Haul some weight. So I think that's a perfect complement. You know, the perfect milk for the Oreo cookie that needs a good dip. I think it's a hell of a combination. I mean, at that point. Really, at this point, what else do you need? And so I'm not going to lie to you guys around 4. I'm not the type of guy that's going to get on here and lie like, oh, I know this guy. Anthony Bradford, yeah, I'm not familiar with him. But obviously you guys, if some of you guys seen, he had 34 reps. I believe that was second for offensive lineman. And so, yeah, man, hopefully he can just provide depth to the offensive line and maybe even try to steal a role. Cameron Young, another big body guy. I think he's a bit heavy footed, but I believe he's an ideal piece for that front. Right, that 3-4 front, but a guy in the 5th round, and not to just skip past Cameron Young though. I mean, he could potentially be, he might be a dog one day. But we know that in that 3-4 defense, you need bodies to rotate up front, man. But in the 5th round, Mike Morris out of Michigan. Now, this guy, I'm a huge fan of his game, man. He can play standing up, you know what I mean? Getting after the quarterback. I believe he can even put his hand in the dirt and be a defensive end for that 3-4. I mean, not every play, but I'm just saying his versatility, in my opinion, is really unmatched at the position. So I'm high on Mike Morris. I think he's going to become a fan favorite. And to think, though, you guys got Derick Hall earlier. I mean, like Mike Morris and Derick Hall coming off to help Nwosu and Darrell Taylor. I mean, man, y'all got some help on defense, man. And then in the 5th round, another Michigan guy. I'm a huge fan of Oluwatimi, man. I think he can I actually think he was the best center. I thought he was the best center in the draft. I'm being completely honest with you guys, man. I really thought he was the best center in the draft. I just love his game, man. Obviously, in my opinion, I won't say it's obvious, but for me, when I see it, it's like he has the physicality and the size to play guard too if need be. But if not, I mean, he could potentially come in, and I'm not going to lie, I don't know you guys starting center situation, but if you needed a center, obviously you needed somebody in the trenches, in the interior. He's that guy. I think he can come in and start day one, man. I really do. And then I'll be honest, the Jerrick Reed II, I wasn't familiar with this game at all. But, I mean, I did look up his pro day, and so, I mean, he ran a 4.44 at the 40 with a 38-inch vert and 18 reps. So, you know, hopefully he has some developmental traits, and maybe he can show his skill set on special teams and work his way up. Now, lastly, you guys in the 7th round went running back again. And this guy, Kenny McIntosh, we're going to have a link to my video. My thoughts on Kenny McIntosh. I felt like he was a hidden gem. This guy, he fell in the draft because of his speed. Him running a 4.62, and I think even he ran a 4.7 at his pro day. But when you watch Georgia play, if you watch college football and you're familiar with Georgia, Kenny McIntosh, football, like helmet, shorter pass speed, it's like 4.4. But obviously, he didn't have a sexy 40, and so he fell to the 7th round. I think this guy is great out the backfield at catching the ball. I think this guy is great. You could put, I mean, you want to talk about wheel routes, flat routes, all of those things, and he's great with the ball in his hand. I just think what you guys already have in Kenneth Walker and then Charbonnet, I'm not wishing injury on anybody, but he is a great depth piece. I think this guy will earn a spot on the 53-man roster, man. I really do. I'm really high on him. Please check out the video I got on him. The link will be in the description. And I did want to talk about a few of the undrafted free agent prospects you guys had. I think it should be an amazing camp battle between Jake Bobo and CJ Johnson. I'm a huge fan of CJ Johnson. I have a CJ Johnson hidden gem video. Once again, you guys actually drafted Kenny McIntosh, a guy that I have a video on. But CJ Johnson is a guy I have a video on as well. Both of those guys, one of my hidden gems. Jake Bobo is a name that I've seen floating around in it during this draft circuit a lot. I think they both are similar players as far as being a big slot. I think CJ Johnson really reminds me of Anquan Boldin, man. Just the way he's built. Like, just if you remember how Anquan, you guys remember because he played in the division, right? So Jake Bobo, man, I just think that's gonna be a hell of a preseason and training camp, man. I'm telling you, those guys are gonna be fighting for that big slot backup role, man. Then the quarterback that was actually throwing to CJ Johnson at ECU, Holton. I don't know if he'll make the team, but he's a fun player, man. He's a fun, scrappy quarterback. I don't know, man. He might be one of those guys that go to the XFL and have a decent career over there. And then lastly, Arquan Bush out of Cincinnati, defensive back. I think this is a guy who probably would have capitalized. His draft capital probably would have been a little bit higher had he came out last year. You know, coming out with Kobe Bryant and Sauce, he could have, just came out. Because at that point last year in 2022 draft, it was sexy to draft prospects from Cincinnati. But hopefully he can earn a spot on the special teams as well. Overall, I got to give you guys an A+ though, man. O-line depth. You added O-line depth. You got D-line depth. You boosted the pass rush. You got more dynamic on offense and more physical on defense. I mean, what more can you ask? I mean, you really can't ask for any more than that, man. So it's BSO513, man. We're going to go ahead and get the Seattle Seahawks A+ draft. Seahawks fans, comment below. Tell me what you think. We got more content on the way. Let's get it.